talking about women, period. Many women in your households, you have tremendous difficulty making a man listen to a word you're saying.
Actual fact.
You'll be talking to him and you see his eyes glaze over. He's watching the football or he's into something else, and you say, look, you never listen to me.
Never.
And he can't, because he can't listen to you while all he can see is breast or thighs or buttocks, whatever. You see, you wonder why as Muslim women,
Listen up.
the women are required to dress in a modest way, not showing their form, not to be covered up like the Dalek. That's wrong. You can't find that in this book. That's misogynistic men using their own fear and phobia of women and using the excuse of religion to put women down.
Teach, Muhammad.
That is somebody else's culture, got nothing to do with Islam.
That's right.
The book says that the woman must dress modestly, and the man too. That's the instruction, that we must cover our apparels. Good word. Cover, our private parts. Don't jiggle them about in front of people. The point is this: Allah, in His infinite wisdom, designed the female to be attractive to the man. And He designed the man to be attractive to the woman. Allah did that.
That's right.
There is nothing wrong with sex. But sex has its place.
That's right.
Sex is not to take place on London Underground, where you see some of you with your tongue down each other's throats on the tube.
That's right.
That's sick.
Wow, high club.
Sex is not supposed to be on television after 9 o'clock, where you have people having sexual acts, full intercourse on the television, and you justify that. Sex is a private thing between two people. But now you have made, the Bible, the scripture says, they make evil fair seeming.
That's right.
They make evil look like it's a natural thing. So now people have sex all over the place. The sex drive of the members of the human family is being fed day in and day out, 24 hours, 7 days a week. Sex, sex, sex. Every magazine, every newspaper, every article, every TV program. And now people are, they're literally saturated with sex.
That's right.
And so you're there trying to have an intelligent conversation with your husband or your boyfriend at home. He ain't listening.
Not
Yes,
possible.
Mind is on other things. So there needs to be a reassessment, another way of approaching relationships. And so as I close, the woman needs to be looked at anew and afresh. And the woman needs to be looked at by the man in a new way, and the woman needs to look at herself in a new way.
Go ahead, Muhammad.
Why do we say diamonds? If you take a trip down to Hatton Garden, where the jewelers are and they deal with diamonds and precious stones, you will notice that most of those dealers, those jewelry dealers, they have a little magnifying glass around their neck. And that magnifying glass is so that they can take a close, introspective look at the stone. That they can look within the stone to actually look now at the very carats of the stone.
Listen.
Within the word carats, you have the word character. They want to find the flaw within the stone. They want to see the perfection of the stone. That's the manner in which we have to begin looking at one another.
Teach, Muhammad.
In a very close way, looking deep into the person. Yes, the book may look attractive on the cover, but you will never understand this book until you delve deep into the pages.
Teach, Muhammad.
You will never understand another human being until you look deep into their soul, deep into their spirit. But we live in a world where many people who stood here a moment ago began listening. They left. You know why? They said, that's too deep, man. That's too deep. That's too heavy stuff. They came out for some trivia.
Comedy.
And as long as you're on that kind of surface dwelling level, you will never understand. You will never have a decent relationship. You will never be able to appreciate a woman. You will never be able to see that at the core of her, at the base of her, is God Himself. And I say this in closing: when you disrespect a woman, you disrespect yourself.
That's right.
When you put a woman down, you put yourself down.
That's right.
You and I must reverence the womb which bore us.
That's right.
Her womb is sacred,
That's right.
and the passageway to that womb is sacred.
That's right.
And I say this, man, we are taught in the Nation of Islam,
Listen.
if there was no God
That's right.
for us to worship, we would have to worship the female.
Right.
That's how we see the woman. And you will never find one of us being disrespectful to no woman, regardless of creed or class or color. Be warned now, that don't mean you take liberties with us.
That's right.
We are not foolish men.
Tell it.
But that's our teaching. That's how we see the woman. And we implore all of you, have another look at the woman. If you're a woman, have a look at yourself.
Tell it.
Evaluate yourself and check your value system. And the clothes that you're wearing, is it because you really want to dress like that? Or has somebody told you that's the convention? That's the latest fashion.
That's right.
And do you wonder why men driving past in vans and lorries almost crashing in lampposts? And you think, oh, that means I'm really attractive.
Right.
You don't understand.
Right.
That means that you're being looked at like a piece of meat.
That's right.
That means that you have no respect, and that they're not going to look at you as an intelligent creation of God. They're looking at you as something to be used and put aside.
Teach,
That's right.
Muhammad.
And you've got to look at yourself in a much more enlightened and in a much more deep way. And you've got to appreciate that if there is to be any future in this world, you are the first teacher of the children. And if you have no substance in here to impart to the children, what the hell is going to happen to your future?
Right.
So the woman needs to be a highly educated individual. She needs to really study. And the number one study is the knowledge of self.
That's right.
Thank you for listening. May Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum. Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Allahu Akbar.
Praise be to Allah. Those words mean, Allahu Akbar means God is the greatest.
Did you hear what was said about the woman today?
Yes.
Yeah, what do you think in regards to that?
Most of it quite true. And
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay, where are you from, the States?
Yeah, New York.
How do you feel that women are treated over there?
Probably the same as over here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you feel can be done to change that situation?
What could be done, Jeanette?
Well, there are two ways to look at that, because one, sometimes is what the kind of respect what a woman shows, and what you find in North America is what you present, that's what you get back, and it's self-respect comes first, and sometimes we don't always demonstrate that.
Yes, ma'am.
And in addition to that, if you don't demonstrate that, you get is like what you give. And that could be changed starting from the woman first, if she respects herself.
Okay, that's beautiful. Did you expect to find a Nation of Islam here in England? Obviously, you
We read about it, but we just didn't expect to see it in Hyde Park.
Okay,
Very happy to see that.
okay, that's beautiful. And what do you think of the presentation today?
Wonderful. I couldn't tear myself away.
Okay, thank you, sisters. You
Okay,
take care.
take care.
Yeah, what did you think about what was said in regards to the woman?
What do you think?
It was very interesting.
Yeah. What do you feel in regards to the way women are treated today in today's society?
Well, it's partly true what it says, and it should be looked at, and it should be improved.
Yes. Okay.
So this is completely true.
Okay. Thank you. Where are you from, sir?
From Belgium.
Okay. Thank you for your time. Yeah.
Thank you.
What did you think on that?
Oh, absolutely positive. Complete the right track.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree all the way. And first and foremost, the most important is for a woman to look at herself,
Yes.
because you do receive what you give out
Yes.
if you operate on another level. So once you look at yourself and make the changes, what will come back to you will be completely different.
Yes, ma'am.
So that is the point, because people's attitude towards you will depend on what you give out to them. So each time it goes back to self, all the time.
Okay.
And from there things move. So yeah, on the right track.
What do you
Absolutely.
What do you think of the way the Nation of Islam are representing ourselves here in Hyde Park? Have you heard us before?
Always positive. Always positive.
Thank you for your time,
Always
sister.
positive.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
I believe you were preaching about respect to women, which is to be applauded, yet the Nation of Islam seems to be publicly represented exclusively by men. Is that a form of disrespect in itself?
Good question.
The question is, we appear to be teaching, or we were teaching, about the respect of women. However, from the gentleman's perspective, we appear to be publicly represented strictly by men. Isn't that some form of disrespect in and of itself? Good question.
Good question.
However, the answer is even better. In the Nation of Islam, we have many female representatives.
That's right.
You won't find them in Hyde Park. Hyde Park is a hostile environment.
That's right.
We do not allow. See, when we come here, see, your question was very respectfully put, but most times when we come here, we have some very disrespectful people who come, and they come to hurl abuse, and they come to be very disrespectful towards us. Now, as you can see, very wide shoulders. I can take all of that and then some. However, our women are very precious to us.
That's right.
They're more than diamonds to us.
That's right.
They're so valuable to us that we refuse to allow anyone to disrespect our women. Hold on, hold on. If you disrespect our women, you will force us to be uncivilized.
That's right.
And we are trying to be civilized. But for our women, we will kill concrete.
That's right.
For our women, we will make blood bleed.
That's right.
For our women, we will drown water.
Tell it.
That's the kind of mentality that we have when it comes to our women. We don't play when it comes to our women. So we won't bring our women in front of a potentially hostile people who are very disrespectful with a lot of filth that may come out of their mouth towards one another, because we won't take it.
Won't take it.
So that's why you don't find our women here. However, there are no restrictions on our women in the Nation of Islam. One of our best teachers, one of my best teachers in the Nation of Islam is a woman. Her name is Sister Minister Ava Muhammad.
That's right.
She is not only a minister over a mosque, she's a minister over an entire region in North America.
That's right.
Many of our women in the Nation of Islam are business women. They run businesses, they run travel agents, they run other types of businesses, they do all manner of things. The women also are the backbone behind the administration of the Nation of Islam.
That's right.
You see, I'm very well turned out today. Someone is looking after my children. See, because I'm a family man, I love my children. And my woman has the love of the children, where she will help me to deal with what I've got to deal with as a man by doing her role as a woman. In the Nation of Islam, we believe in God's law and God's order. God made male and female, and He gave one certain qualities and He gave another certain qualities. One is not better than the other. The qualities are complementary.
Right.
We are supposed to be partners and teammates. That's why we are mates. That's why you Caucasian people confuse us. When you put your arm around another man and say, my best mate. No, my best mate is my woman.
That's right.
That's why the word mate is used, because it's about the mating game. You don't mate man to man. That's another thing.
That's another
There we go.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you're talking about disrespecting women? Very disrespectful as two men to go lay down together. Very disrespectful to a woman. And vice versa, two women laying down together. Now, I know you all, oh look, they're homophobic as well. You're so sad. See, homophobic means to be afraid of you, homosexual. I'm not afraid. You can do what the hell you want to do. And then the implication is that, oh, we hate homosexuals and we're running around looking for one to beat up. No, no, no. That's your business. All we're going to do is point out what the book of God says.
That's right.
That's all, that's our job.
Done.
We're not going to shrink from it. We're not afraid of you. We don't give a damn what you do. But don't try and teach my children it. Don't tell me that you've got a right to teach my children
That's right.
that your perversion of God's law is acceptable. Allah says it is an abomination to Him. See, look, everything we build as human beings is built on God's law.
That's right.
You see that motor car? We built it. based on God's law. There is a hole for petrol.
That's right. Go in.
There's a hole for exhaust. Think about it.
Break it down.
Yes, sir. Sorry? No, you're gonna have to talk loud, man.
Where do we get to our financing?
The question is, where do we get our financing? Good question. The answer is from our pockets.
That's right.
Many of us that you see here today, we are members of the Nation of Islam. We have day jobs. Listen to the answer. Listen to the answer. We have day jobs. We go to work. We work very hard. We earn what little money we earn. We pool our resources. We put it into our school. We put it into our newspaper. Put it into different enterprises. You know, we're trying to do little business here, little business there. Try to make money, keep ourselves going. Essentially, that's where the bulk of our money comes from. Sometimes we have some beautiful individuals. Colonel Gaddafi, he's given us a loan before of $5 million, which we have to pay back. You know, things like that. We have different people who will try to help from time to time, but we don't get enough help. We need more help. We're calling on our Arab brothers and sisters. We're calling on our Asian brothers and sisters. Those of you who have money, who are Muslims, help the Nation of Islam.
That's right.
Because we need your help, because we are fighters and defenders of Islam, and we are there to uphold the entire Islamic family. So that's how I'll come back to you. Yes, sir.
Can you tell me about the Nation of Islam? What do you think about Muhammad after he came back from Saudi Arabia?
Absolutely right.
The question is, from the gentleman to my left, he wants to know about the Nation of Islam and how the Nation of Islam felt about Malcolm X when he came back from his pilgrimage in Mecca. That's the question, right? Well, it's a very long story, but I'll try to put it encapsulate it for you. I need you to understand something. As I stand before you today, I don't stand before you of myself. My name is Leo Muhammad. I am representing my minister, who is Minister Michael Muhammad, who is Minister Farrakhan's representative in the West London area. I am not in charge. I am under instruction. I am instructed to come into Hyde Park and give a lecture for a period of time, leave, and then go on to my next assignment. Okay. I am very well known in this country. I used to be on the television for 5 years on the BBC in a very popular black show that used to come on the television. Many people know my face. When I go out, many people recognize me. They want to take my picture. People want autographs. I get invited onto the television, radio, different things. I go up and down. I lecture at schools, colleges, universities, prisons, different institutions all up and down the country. Now, if I make a mistake and begin to think that because I'm being paid all of this attention, that I'm some kind of big shot, I am now a self-made man, I am now, so articulate and so learned that I should have a movement of my own, and in my own right I should be regarded as some great person, then I'm beginning to step out of my station. Malcolm was taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
Malcolm was Malcolm Little. Knew very little.
That's right.
Malcolm was a prisoner. He was a drug dealer. He was doing all manner of filth and nastiness before he heard the teachings of the most Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
I was the same. One of these low-life people very ignorant, very foolish. But when I heard this teaching, changed me up, made me now to start to study, clean up my life, take responsibility. Same thing with Malcolm. Now, after a while, everybody in the media would see Malcolm. They would talk about Malcolm. I can show you, man, whole articles about me in the Guardian, in the broadsheets, and different shows that I've been on. They invite me. I go to Buckingham Palace and shake hands with, what's his name? Jeffrey Archer. They threw him out the other day because he shook hands with me, probably. But you can find me all over the place, in corridors of power, believe me, I sit down with the police, high officials, and they have tremendous respect. Now, I'm trying to make a point to you, because the same thing was happening to Malcolm.
That's right.
But what they're doing, you see, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, he is so confident in the message that Allah has revealed to us through him, that he is not afraid to send someone like me out, send Malcolm out, say go teach the people. He raised up Muhammad Ali. He was Cassius Clay.
That's right.
Gave him the name Muhammad Ali. He became the most famous sports person on the planet.
That's right.
Not only a fighter, but a man with wisdom in his mouth for black people.
That's right.
But the messenger sent these men out, said go and teach the people. But you never heard nothing about the messenger. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, just a little man in the background. Nobody knew. Just like my minister. Minister Michael, if most of you saw him, you'd never believe it.
That's right.
He's a very small, diminutive man, very gentle in his spirit. Nothing like Leo. Leo is big and boisterous and bold and will go out there. My minister is very humble, very quiet, but he's the power.
That's right.
The messenger was the power. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad was the power behind Malcolm.
That's right.
My minister is the power behind me. But sometimes, those of us who are in the public arena, we begin to think we are the power. And then the media, who are wickedly wise, begin to play on the ego of the speaker, saying that you're great, you're great, you're great. Now, the Nation of Islam, at the time, in the 60s, was very much hated like today. And Kennedy was assassinated. Now, I don't know how many of you can remember, a few years ago, a movie came out called Malcolm X. Okay, when Malcolm X came out, Minister Farrakhan, who is the present day leader of the Nation of Islam, sent out an edict, a command to every member of the Nation of Islam. The command was, say nothing about the Malcolm X film. Say nothing about the film, because there was great controversy surrounding the release of that film, because what Spike Lee put in the film at the end was that the Nation of Islam killed Malcolm X. Hollywood paid Spike Lee in excess of $35 million to make a movie about Malcolm X. And many of you thought, oh, wonderful. You think Hollywood did that because they loved Malcolm? You think Hollywood did that because they wanted to promote Malcolm or love the nation? No. They had an idea. They had a twist at the end. They wanted the modern day young people, black people in particular, who love and admire Malcolm X, to turn on the Nation of Islam, the current Nation of Islam, and say, you lot killed Malcolm. We were supposed to go in the public and begin to argue. No, we didn't. This and that, and to-ing and fro-ing, so that they could create a mayhem and mischief and cause the shedding of blood. I was invited at that time onto many television programs. Do you remember Devil's Advocate with Darcus Howe? He wanted me to come on his program with the widow of Malcolm X, Betty Shabazz. He invited me to come onto the program to go and speak in opposition to Betty Shabazz, to create madness in the public, to create controversy and madness in the public. Now look, I hope you understand what I'm saying. See, if I was an egotist, if this was about my ego, if it was just because I like the sound of my own voice, and I'm just a publicity seeker, oh, is there a camera going to be there? Oh, I want to be in front of the camera. Then I would have run. We said no. We're not going on television. We're not speaking to the media. We're not giving no statements following the instruction of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Malcolm X film came. Malcolm X film went. Rubbish. Rubbish. We can tell you about Malcolm. Malcolm was with us for 12 years. All of you claiming Malcolm today, you knew him for 1 year. We tell you, you want to know about Malcolm? You want to know why Malcolm is called Malcolm X? You got to come to the Nation of Islam.
That's right.
You want to know why he's called Shabazz? You got to come to the Nation of Islam. All of that comes from the Nation of Islam. Why do you love Malcolm today? Oh, Malcolm was this, Malcolm was that. Why was he? Because he was taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
That's right.
Because that's what made Malcolm the most powerful black man in America during the 60s. That's what made Malcolm the man that you all now hypocritically say you admire. But Malcolm left the nation in 1 year. Malcolm died and he went to Mecca and he came back and he was killed. Now, let me just deal with who killed him. The American government killed Malcolm.
That's right. Go ahead.
They paid some black stooges to shoot Malcolm dead. This is what they've done throughout history with black leaders.
That's right.
Nothing new. They find some cheap, low-down black people, give them a couple of weapons, say, go and kill your own leader, and they did it. I'm not saying to you that they weren't members of the Nation of Islam who were upset with Malcolm. But why were they upset with Malcolm? I want you to imagine, I'm assuming you're a Muslim. You're in the mosque with your brothers and sisters. And tomorrow, you see on the news one of the brothers that you've always prayed next to in the mosque. And he's talking about your imam, saying that your imam is a liar, is a corrupt man. Your imam did this and your imam did that. And in the mosque, all filth and bad things take place. And you know that it is not the truth. How would you feel about that brother? Would you be happy, all in love with him? Oh, what a wonderful brother. Or would you hate him and say, Allah, you must deal with this one because what he is doing is a lie? What Malcolm did was that Malcolm began to believe that he was better than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad because the media was feeding Malcolm. See, when President Kennedy was assassinated, just like Minister Farrakhan today, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad in that day said, say nothing about the death and the assassination of Kennedy. It was a very sensitive thing. Don't want the nation speaking into it because potentially it could create mayhem. Malcolm didn't like to be silenced. See, when that Malcolm X film came out, believe me, I had lots to say. I was bursting to speak. But Minister Farrakhan said, don't speak. And I'm a soldier, that's why I'm wearing this uniform. And in this army, we hear and obey. Malcolm was a military man. He was a soldier in the Nation of Islam. That's what many of you don't understand. The Nation of Islam is an army. We are soldiers. So you all think that, oh, you think that Malcolm can just go and talk whatever he wants to talk? No. You can't join the British Army and you get an instruction from your commanding officer and you're going to go against it. No, then you are insubordinate. And so, when Malcolm broke the command, the messenger said, do not speak. Malcolm made the statement, chickens coming home to roost. Right. The messenger then said, Malcolm is to sit down for 90 days and don't speak within 90 days. Before the 90 days was up, Malcolm was in the media again. And this time he was slandering the messenger and he said that he was leaving the Nation of Islam because he felt he could do better work outside the Nation of Islam than in the Nation of Islam. And then Malcolm, leave him. Don't worry, just leave him. Let him talk. Malcolm decided that he no longer wanted to be in that structure. What do we think of that? What do we think of Malcolm when he went to Mecca and came back? We say this, brother. Believe me when I say this. We love Malcolm.
That's right.
We love Malcolm to this day. Malcolm is our brother. However, Malcolm deviated from the teachings of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad after 12 years of good work. And Malcolm allowed people from the outside to influence him into thinking that he was better and that he was better than his teacher and that he could do a better job. When Malcolm went to Mecca and Africa and came back, he came back talking about he found white men, blonde men, drank from the same cup as white men, and how wonderful it was. Look, man, Malcolm didn't go to Mecca and discover that there were white Muslims. Malcolm was no fool. Malcolm knew there was white Muslims. White Muslims used to come to the messenger's home. Any baby knows that. So Malcolm didn't need to go to Mecca to find that out. So that's so foolish, people. That's right. He went to Mecca in 1959. Before that. So don't try and pull that foolishness over. Oh, Malcolm suddenly discovered that Islam was this universal religion. Rubbish. Malcolm knew all of that. But all it was that Malcolm has decided to leave the nation. Let me explain. You know, I don't know if you drive, but when you decide to change your car, you see a better one. You know, you see one you really love, and ooh, I want to get that car. All of a sudden, you find that you might stop washing the old car. You don't get it serviced because your love, your interest is no longer in that one. You've seen a new one. Your attention is focused on that one. So you allow that one to run down because it's no longer. You have to justify in your mind getting rid of it. Malcolm, now because he had left the nation, he had to put the nation down in order to move on and to get acceptance from the orthodox world of Islam. He wanted acceptance from the political people. That's why Malcolm started to apologize to all the people he used to beat their backsides before. Many of the politicians, Malcolm now started to apologize. And Malcolm made himself look very foolish. Malcolm made himself very vulnerable to their attacks. And ultimately, they conspired and they killed him. I say all of that, not with hatred for Malcolm. We love Malcolm. We understand that our brother made a mistake. None of us here is above making a mistake. I could make the same mistake, and I'm praying every day, oh Allah, keep my spirit humble. Make me not to think that I'm some kind of power, because I know I'm not. I am nothing. I am just a little receptacle and a messenger, and I speak on behalf of my minister. And I pray that Allah will always make me to remember where I'm coming from, and that I don't forget and become arrogant and start to think, because the media boosts me up. Oh, Leo Muhammad, Leo Muhammad. And then what happened when the messenger sat Malcolm down? In the newspapers the next day, there was big headlines. Muhammad silences Malcolm. And Malcolm fell for it. He's been silenced by Muhammad. And then they put through jealousy. Elijah Muhammad jealous of his student, jealous of his national representative. And Malcolm began to believe that the messenger was jealous of him. The messenger was never jealous of Malcolm. The messenger was the power, is the power. We're following the messenger today.
That's right.
That's right.
We're not following Malcolm. We're not following Malcolm. We are following the messenger. That's who Minister Farrakhan is following. So, for those who want to claim Malcolm, you can claim him. But I want you to show me Malcolm's movement. Show me Malcolm's school. Show me what Malcolm's people are doing today. But I thank you for the question. But just to say that we didn't kill Malcolm. We love Malcolm. I'm not saying that people claiming to be members of the nation didn't have anything to do with it. Yes. Let me explain. These brothers here, they're members of the Nation of Islam. In the Nation of Islam, we have a rule: no weapons. We're not allowed to carry guns or knives or anything like that. So if you see him tomorrow with a knife or a gun in his pocket, he is a liar, pretending, wearing fancy dress, pretending to be a member of the Nation of Islam. Do you understand? Because religion is not what you say from your mouth. Religion is what you do. Action speaks louder than words. Right. So anyone can claim, I'm a member of the Nation of Islam, but you need to look at their actions to see whether or not they are what they say they are. Because those men who carried those guns into that meeting and shot Malcolm, they weren't with Elijah. Because Elijah's instructions to us, no guns, no weapons. And he told all the believers, leave Malcolm alone. Thank you for your question. Yes, sir.
Last question.
Right, take 10 seconds then. Not once have you mentioned in any of this at all whether or not you recognise the teaching of Christianity in Jesus Christ. Do you recognise the teaching of Jesus Christ?
Okay, this is the last question. How you doing, my brother? Good to see you, man. Yes, sir, my brother, man. He said, I'm going to repeat it, yes. He said, in all of this talk, not once have we mentioned whether we recognize Christianity and the teachings of Jesus Christ. Well, first and foremost, you are what's called a Johnny-come-lately.
That's right.
You just showed up here with your arrogant self. We've been here for a good couple of hours now. We've spoken on Christianity. We've spoken on all of those things. We have said.
As a question, not observation.
We have said.
Question, not an observation.
We have said throughout this that we recognize and we respect all believers in God, be they Christians, Muslims, Buddhists, whatever. So for you to come along here and make that statement, it just demonstrates that you weren't listening. First of all, you haven't been here, and so I'm not gonna make your question be the last one. I want a better question to end our session today.